You're listening to Materials Business, the podcast where engineering, leadership, and innovation meet diversity and inclusion. Hosted by Monica Hernandez, engineer, entrepreneur, and industry advocate. When we embrace different perspectives, we create stronger industries, smarter solutions, and lasting impact. Now, let's dive in.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when are you watching us. And thank you for being part of the Material Business community. My name is Monica Hernandez, and I am your host. And I have a super special guest, Zoonie Nguyen. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Zoonie is going to talk about empowerment, more so than anything. Empowerment for women, how to find your voice, how she's discovered those tools that made her be in the place she is at right now. I was telling her before we hit recording, she's the first guest that we have that has ever launched a film, and it's on big screen. So I'm super excited because I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity, red carpet and all. So thank you for being here, Zoonie.
Thank you so much, Monica. I'm honored to be here today. Thank you.
Zoonie, tell us, who are you?
How much time have you got? I'm joking. Oh my goodness, who am I? I'm today, today, August 20th, 2025. I am wearing a few hats. I'm sure like a lot of women entrepreneurs, like yourself, Monica, but all the hats that I am wearing, they're all about advocating, supporting, and collaborating with incredible women, especially women entrepreneurs and organizations supporting and helping and championing women entrepreneurs. So I'm a coach. I'm a coach who loves coaching women entrepreneurs, women startup founders in anything that has to do with storytelling, how to embrace selling, marketing. So I'm a business coach. I'm also a speaker because I realize that using your voice in order to create movements and ripple effect and make a social impact is super important. So I am a passionate speaker. I love it. And these days, the big hat that I'm wearing, I have to say, is I'm the executive producer and co-director of my documentary film called How She Dares.
That is amazing. And you are right. There are very many guests that have come to the podcast that, especially entrepreneur women, that wear several hats. And sometimes that intersectionality between roles is somehow difficult. You also had a background on STEM, and that is also part of what we really love speaking in the podcast is how we can correlate that technical side into what we have become. So why don't we tell the audience how was that transition for you?
So to go back a little bit, thank you for the question, Monica. To go back a little bit in my background, I didn't wake up one morning becoming a coach and a speaker and a filmmaker. I'm Vietnamese. My roots are Vietnam. I came to Canada when I was 8 years old. And my family and we were refugees. We got adopted by this incredible country, and I'm grateful for the rest of my life. Every day, I'm grateful that I'm Vietnamese Canadian or Canadian Vietnamese. My background is electrical engineering. I graduated from McGill with a bachelor in electrical engineering. And it's funny. I have a little story because when you're Asian, especially when you're Vietnamese, so if anybody out there who, Asian or Vietnamese, that, your parents, especially if they are immigrants or refugees, they tell you, they try to push you to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, dentist, pharmacist. It's one of those, right? So that's no different for me when I grew up. My dad wanted me to be a lawyer and my mom wanted me to be a doctor. So I said, No to both, and I picked engineering, and I'm happy I did actually. Not that it was my passion at the time, but I think my parents raised me to be practical, and so I wanted to go into electrical engineering because I had a goal. I wanted to create a robot so that the robot would clean the house because I didn't think it was fair that the girls have to clean, but the boys didn't have to clean. So this is
Wow.
my story. Yeah, so I practiced as an electrical engineer at CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, for a good decade, where I build, design television and radio studios across Ontario and Quebec. It was a fantastic career, Monica. It was actually my dream career. I've always wanted to work in that world. It's so exciting. TV, radio, music. So I got my dream career, and I did it for a good decade. But one morning I woke up and when you have that inner voice inside that's asking you, is this going to be the rest of your life? And I kept hearing no. And honestly, my heart said no right away because I was successful at CBC, but I couldn't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. And so I quit. When you jump and there's nothing, well, that's me. I quit.
I know that. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. I'm sure you can relate, Monica, and I'm sure many of your listeners out there can relate too. I listened to my heart, so I resigned. And this is pretty crazy because at the time CBC went through cuts, but they didn't cut me. So I was like the one jumping up and down, cut me, cut me, cut me. So I had to resign and I moved to Hong Kong with my husband, who's also an electrical engineer. And I moved there with nothing waiting for me. It was like, a call. It was like a true calling, but I needed to go there because I needed to find what my true mission was in life. And I'll stop here because that was another adventure once I landed in Hong Kong. And yeah, and so much happened there that led me to where I am today. Yeah.
Oh, that's an incredible story. Good for you that you listened to your heart and you said, this isn't what I want to be the rest of my life. This is not what I want to feel every morning. There is a lot of people that practice engineering today that don't like what they do and they just do it because they think there is nothing else. So if you're one of those people listening today, I invite you to have the courage that Zoonie had at that time. Sit down with yourself and then ask your heart and then listen to what that heart is telling you. Because it's possible. It's possible to rebuild a career, a life altogether, and then go where you're supposed to be going. So that is a really incredible story. You had that passion of, okay, I want to create this solution because it's unfair. So even at that young age, you already were thinking, okay, how is this things, how we can empower women, how we can give tools to women, even if it is robots, or how is that evolved to what you're doing now?
That's a very interesting question. Actually, you know what? I just want to go back to engineering a little bit. I don't regret. Like, I really, everything that I've done, Monica, like, I don't regret. Especially, I don't regret going to medicine because I'm scared of blood. So that's good. But in fact, when you're an engineer and you know this, Monica, you learn to build, you learn to solve problems. Solving problems is what engineers do best. Trust me, I have brothers who are engineers. My husband's an engineer, so I know a lot of engineers in my circle, and I'm so happy and grateful that I chose engineering. And then at CBC, my clients were internal. So I had to build and design studios for, different productions, different regions. So I had to travel. But what it taught me was very useful for what I'm doing today. So when you're a project leader, project engineer for a project, you have to manage the budget. So if I have $2 or $3 million in my hand, and I have to build a facility. So if you listen to CBC News World today, they call it CBC News Network in Toronto. I built that. I built that from scratch. It was like a $3 million project. So I learned to mobilize teams, because back then it's all men. I'm like one of those rare women engineers. So, my world was, man technicians, in productions, man technical installers. So I had to supervise them, and I had to manage them. So that was a big challenge. It helps that I grew up with five brothers, mind you. I'm a bit of a tomboy. So um, but I learned how to mobilize a team. I learned a lot of leadership lessons. First thing I always tell my team when we start a project is, we are a team. If we fail, it's on me, because I'm the project leader. If we succeed, it's on you. So that was always my first tune, right? So that they know that I'm responsible. I'm holding myself accountable, because I'm the designer, I'm the project leader. And so I brought that kind of mindset into my project management. I learned how to sell. I really learned how to sell, Monica, because, sometimes, let's say a production studio, they want certain equipment, and I need to sell them that, no, 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 no. With my budget, let's not go with Sony. Maybe we'll go with another brand. So selling, mobilizing, motivating a team, solving problems, as they come, and staying, how do they say, grace under fire. When you're a project
Mhm.
manager, you got to be on top of things. You got to stay cool. You cannot panic. You have to be able to guide your team towards the goal. So I learned all of that. And I'm not going to lie, today, I bring this into my coaching. I bring this into my workshop when I help women entrepreneurs, or, who are solving problems for their customers. So can you see the parallel? Yeah.
Been there, done that. That's why I love my guests. Like, everyone that comes to the podcast is not random people, right? It's not like I'm going outside. It's like all of you guys have so much in common to my mission in my vision in life, and then the vision of my company, and the leader that I want to be, and the parent that I am trying to be. It's all of you guys have that commonality. And then when you and I met earlier this year, it was an instant match. It's like, oh my God, should I have you here? I will be hugging you. So it's all of those things that, for so long, when you are the only one, or the first one, you have no one to look around and that looks like you, speaks like you, uh, is like you, behaves like you, feels like you. So when you find that, it's like, oh my God, I'm dreaming, or what? This is so cool. And I'm sure that is part of the connective piece that we have. And that is one of the things that we want to share in the podcast. Not only the motivation to see as someone's journey from Vietnam to now Canada all those years later, but also to see everything that took to be there, and then which tools did we build? Because it is all about that. How many tools you have, how do you use them? It's like the time is equal for you, me, and everyone. We have 24 hours a day, so it's not time. Money, well, money, we can make money, or born money. Tell me about it. Been there, done that. So, but it's the tools and how we can build that. So you have mentioned a lot of things. If there is any leader listening today to this, like what you've said earlier was amazing. Like, I wish I had more leaders like that in my career that said, okay, let's do it together. And then motivating them to be the best that they can be, because that is ultimately how you are the best, and how your company grows, and how it's just a whole process. Talking about engineering, right?
Yeah, process. Oh,
So some of the key skills that you have built, you have already touched into. How does someone that is afraid of taking that leap of faith silence that voice and then goes for it? How did you do it?
That I guess you're talking about the imposter syndrome. God, I hate that. I hate those two words, but it comes up, right? It comes up when I network. It comes up when I'm in a conference or in a workshop. There's not much we can do, or you can call it the fear. To me, I think to fear something that you're not comfortable in, it's normal. Well, first of all, you have to say that, hey, I'm human. I'm human. And so if something makes me uncomfortable, or if I have that nagging voice that says, oh, who do you think you are you kidding? I mean, Monica, we all have it. But here's the thing. I like I want to recognize that I have fear and imposter syndromes like every other human beings, but I don't like that imposter syndrome of fear to hang out next to me. So if you're driving a car, you know, you want the passenger next to you to be uplifting and positive and maybe singing with you, right? So I want to toss that fear and imposter syndrome in the back seat. Stay in the back seat. Yeah, once in a while you're there. I know you're there, but you don't need to be my co-pilot. You know what I mean? So it's to recognize, and also to recognize that if you fear something, or if you have that voice that tells you that you cannot do it, well, maybe it's because you're lacking knowledge or lacking connections or informations. So I always tell people that I coach, young women or students that I mentor or coach, that when you step out of that comfort zone, the next time your comfort zone is bigger. So it's a muscle, right? It's like my movie, Daring. I do daring circles, and I teach them that daring is really a muscle. And the more you develop it, the more it becomes not so uncomfortable. So think of it that way. Step out of your comfort zone. The next time comfort zone's bigger. So therefore, at one point, it's like me now, Monica. The first time I went on a podcast, or the first time I got interviewed by the media, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Now this is great. You are great, Monica. So I feel like, yeah, all we need is a table and two cup of teas, but I have my cup of tea. So now it's pleasurable because I get it. There's no such a thing as, yeah, just toss it to the back. That's what I would tell people, because nobody's born with the confidence. Confidence is something that if you keep practicing and if you do it, then the next time, you know, it feels a little bit more normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, that is. I watched a movie talking about little stories. I watched a movie with my son. I think probably some parents have seen it. It's called Luca. And then the little Italian guy is at the top of the hill and is going to throw himself like with a bike on this one of those very stiffs. And then he's like, oh, I'm afraid. And the other Italian little friend said, repeat after me. Bruno. That is Bruno. Bruno. Shut up, Bruno. Don't talk, Bruno. Stop, Bruno. And just do it. And then the little guy threw himself and then landed in the ocean. And he's like, oh, it was so good. So it's like when I have those moments, I was like, Bruno, I know you're here. Go away, Bruno. And you have to have that self-talk sometimes because who's going to tell you, right? So it's good that you develop that. And then when it is coming from you, you don't depend on other people to get where you want to be.
Yes. And another thing I want to add, Monica, is that make an inventory. I remember when I resigned from CBC and I moved to Hong Kong with my husband, we sold out everything we have here. We moved there. I did not speak Chinese. I speak Vietnamese. So if it's Chinese for you, it's Chinese for me. So when we moved to Hong Kong, I did not speak Chinese. I had no friends, no families over there. And it was very, very uncomfortable. In fact, 2 weeks after we moved there, I began to question myself. I began to have doubts, those doubts that says, oh my God, what did I do? I left my job. I left my family and friends. I'm here in a new country and my husband is working nonstop. So I'm all by myself in this hotel. But then, it, I took out a piece of paper and I start writing. Journaling is very therapeutic. If you have no one, you talk to your journal. I start to write down pages and pages of what I like about me, even stuff that I did in Montreal, my friends, my family, what they say about me, my work, what I achieve, everything. I call it a feel good inventory. And I think we should all do that. In fact, on my computer, I have a folder, and in there I have all of my media clips, videos, achievements. And when you, because we all hit, downs and up and downs. I open that folder and it's an instant feel good because you need to. Life is busy and sometimes we forget how amazing we are until we look at that little folder. So,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna start a folder. And this tip, and that would have been my next question. So this is how connected we are, that you already knew what I'm gonna be asking next. You're doing so much. You're doing so many things, so different time zones, and traveling, and volunteering, your business, your family, and all that. What are your self-care tips that you can give the audience? You already mentioned journaling. What else?
I love being on my bike. These
Oh,
days I'm super busy, but my reward, I get on my bicycle in Montreal and I just go biking. When I'm on my bicycle, I'm a child. I'm not an adult. There's a kid inside a Zoonie that comes out. So anything that has to do with cycling, or if I have a chance to be by a lake and I can kayak, there's something very healing and therapeutic about nature, to be around trees. So in the past, when we travel, my husband and I, we always find a mountain to hike. If we're in Chile, we're gonna go to Patagonia and we're gonna hike a mountain. If I'm in Europe, if I'm in Asia, I always find spots where I can go hike and get to the summit of a mountain. When I get to the summit, Monica, I own the world. That's the feeling when you look down. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how big is your house, nothing matters. You are looking down and you see all the beauties of Mother Nature, and nothing beats that. But yeah, otherwise I'm on my bike.
that is pretty cool. So self-care is for you movement, I guess, and being surrounded by nature and journaling. So that is how you get to control your emotions, to lead your team, and be the successful leader that you are today. That's a really good tip. Thank you. Let's talk about your film, How She Dares. What about that title? I bet many of the people that are listening to this is are asking themselves, what about the title?
It's interesting because today, first of all, to you and to the audience out there, my documentary film, How She Dares, is a 7-year labor of love. Yes, I'm going to come out and say it because I said it on TV, in the news. It's a 7-year labor of love. So I'm explaining. When I started, I chose that title, and it's funny because I think unconsciously, maybe I was talking about me, but back then I didn't know that the she was like, there's something about Zuni. All I wanted is I was curious, networking, working in Montreal for the last, as in business for the last 19 years. I don't meet a lot of Vietnamese women entrepreneurs. I meet a lot of people. As you know, Monica, Montreal is very diverse and very multicultural, but I don't see a lot of Asian, let alone Vietnamese women entrepreneurs. So it all started by curiosity. I wanted to go back to Vietnam and I wanted to see how is it over there? Are women entrepreneurial? Because I wanted to see people who look like me, right? And
Mhm.
so I took my daughter, and my kids are Irish, Scottish, Chinese, Vietnamese, they're mixed. And I took my daughter who was in her teenage year, and I wanted her to see her mom speak Vietnamese, interview women there. I wanted her to connect with her Vietnamese blood, right? Because my kids don't speak Vietnamese. And so I took her with me. I took her out of school. Now, what mom does that? Trust me, my parents were screaming. Thank thank you, Monica. I'm high fiving you. Because, yeah, a lot of people is like, what? You're taking her out of high school for 2 weeks and a half? I actually sat down with every single teachers of her and explained the project. And you know what? They supported me. They said, We're going to give her assignments and homework. She can do it on the boat, on the plane, in the car, in the taxi. So we had homeworks to bring with us. And so I went there with my daughter and cinematographer, and we had no one to interview, no one. So this is the part where I know people listening will think Zoonie is crazy. Yes, I do have a bit of a craziness, but what entrepreneurs don't have a bit of a craziness in them, right? Um, but we successfully came back with about 100 hours footage with 7 women. I'm really proud of that. And every single one of them that I chose when I got to Vietnam, thanks to social media. This is where I'm saying social media is amazing for things like that. You get to connect and find and communicate with people. But then COVID hits, Monica. COVID happened. So when I say 7 year labor of love, minus two years COVID. So COVID set me back. I didn't know. I really, this is where the imposter syndrome was full spin next to
Yeah.
me. And I almost gave up. I almost gave up during COVID because I'm like, we're all in lockdown. Who's going to go see this movie? So, but I stepped back, and thanks to a really wise friend of mine, Jimmy, I decided, you know what? I will continue. So, to answer your question about how she dares, throughout this whole journey, traveling, meeting, sitting down, creating the space, holding that space for women to share and amplify their voices and express their voice and tell me the story behind what they are creating in their business or in their enterprise. Um, it's there's a lot of courage and boldness. And that's why I think this title, How She Dares, is I love it. Well, everybody around me lately, when I scream, they love it too. And it just goes to show how women dare to turn impossible into get out of my way, I am possible. And yeah, it's and I like ABC 1, 2, 3. So how she does is 3 words. So it's kind of cool.
Really love it because it also tells the story of there was a guest in the podcast that when we were talking, she said sometimes there are people that all their lives have been told no. So when you give them an opportunity, they are suspicious. Like, what is the catch here? Because they have always the narrative that they've heard all the time is you can't. And then so daring is like, man, you need to dare because who else is gonna dare for you? No one. So I love the title. Our lives absolutely love it. And I hope we can get a moment to see the movie when you're airing it here in Vancouver.
Yes.
So let's tell the audience a little bit about what is like you're touring the country, which is pretty cool. And then let's talk about what is the plans for that.
Ah, I am every day I wake up, earlier when you said we have 24 hours, for me, every single morning I have 1,440 minutes. So the minutes are very precious. And that is, that's actually our most precious asset when you think about it. I mean, why is it that everybody has 1,440 minutes or 24 hours a day, but some people succeed and other people, they're going nowhere? Well, it's how you use your minutes, right? And for me these days, I use my minutes, my precious minutes, in a way that it's very important for me because this movement was never meant to be just shown on the screen. When I had this idea about creating this film, and by the way, Monica and audience listening to this, I have zero background in filmmaking. I'm sharing this because if some of you out there feel that you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have a beautiful story, and you want to make a documentary movie, connect with me because I'm telling you, I'm not saying that everybody can do it because I have a team. Of course, I recruited a team. I have a director, producer, editor, and all that. But don't give up if you have an idea or a movement you want to create. So my movie is not meant to stay on the screen, Monica. It's meant to be a movement. So we want to go from movie to movement. Why is that? Because I'm only one person. every time I speak on stage in a conference, in a workshop, a summit, I always have people in the audience saying, come to my country. We want you to. Just last week, I'm invited to India. A couple of weeks ago, I'm invited to Bogota in Colombia. Like everyone wants to invite me to go speak. So this movie was created to travel for me, if you will, because as we're in the digital world, we're in AI, we're in the internet world, and I feel that this film can create dialogues for a lot of people around the world. So far we launched the world premiere in April in Montreal, because it's my turf, it's my home. And we packed the amphitheater at HEC Montreal, the business faculty. We had 287 and some in the amphitheater. It was amazing. And then a few weeks ago, we were in Ottawa for a nonprofit organizations promoting visual, voice, and arts for youth. Next September 20th, we are premiering in Toronto. And it's the How She Dares experience, igniting women entrepreneurship to the it's going to be so fantastic. So it's a How She Dares experience that we're bringing to Toronto for women entrepreneurs. And we have the Canadian Army Forces in talking with us so that we can bring this to all the bases. I know, Monica,
Wow.
I did not know.
Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Nova Scotia, Vancouver. So we are moving, I don't know if we're going to go east first or west. I'm talking to you, so I'd love to go west first. Yes, we want to take this across Canada, because How She Dares, I want this documentary movement and film to activate. These days we're all talking about activations, this, activations, that. I want this movie to ignite and activate entrepreneurial spirits in all women across Canada. And for the next generation, it's important that they see amazing role models, because if they don't see it, they cannot be it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow, this is amazing. Congratulations. I I am so proud of you. You should be so proud of you. Oh my God. This is amazing. And not only for what you've done, but for all the ways that you're opening for other people, for other women, for the next generation, for your kids and mine. It's it's never done that way. So the word movement, I love it, because that is what we need, and that is what puts us together. Like, we got to know each other. I'm pretty sure we crossed paths when I was in Montreal several times, but it wasn't the time for us to meet yet. And then we got to meet because you are the co-ambassador for WeDo, and I am the ambassador, so sorry, for Montreal, right? And I am the one for Vancouver. So that is what brought us together and how we got to know each other. So let's talk about WeDo a little bit. What is that WeDo represents to you?
I know. This is my third summit. So I'm the ambassador for WeDo Canada for the province of Quebec. And Joanne Lee is the Montreal ambassador this year. So she's new. So this is going to be my third summit, Monica, and for audience listening out there. And I'm so used to WeDo that a lot of time I network and I ask people, you don't know WeDo? And it, not to be arrogant, but they're like, no, what is WeDo? So I always have a big smile and I say, it stands for Women Entrepreneurship Day Organization. So we're very excited for the third summit this year at BDC Square. And, it's accepting to wear the hat for the ambassador of WeDo Quebec is really an extension of what I'm already doing. As you can tell, Monica, I've been the last 19 years working alongside incredible women entrepreneurs and organizations helping women entrepreneurs. So for me, holding a summit is just, yeah, I'm already doing that. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so grateful I met you, because I don't know when you came to Montreal, but when I reached out to you and we got on that call, I think a few weeks ago. I was so grateful. Yeah, because I'd love to go to Vancouver. I don't want to put We Do Canada on the spots, but wouldn't it be nice if all ambassadors get to go to each other's summit? So if anybody out there listening and you have the capacity to sponsor us ambassadors so we can all go to each other's summit, please ping Monica.
Yeah, please. It will be amazing. And that is how we grow, right? It's like being in the room. I feel like it is so important to get to know shortcuts when you're in this journey, that you don't have to reinvent the wheel because you have gone through things. I have gone through things. Maybe perhaps we can help the next one that is coming this path. And then it is not about themselves reinventing. So that is what I think for me brings the whole value. Like I didn't, for example, in my business, I didn't know some of the tax benefits that we had for doing research and development. And I just learned about it being in the room when someone mentioned it. And I'm like, what? We have been paying from our pocket and now we can get tax discount, which is huge. So it is all those little things that if you're not in the room, you can't hear that. So having a space where we can share and then we can grow together is extremely valuable. And then, of course, representation, right? So another Vietnamese woman that is in Canada sees you and they're like, man, I want to be Zoonie one day. So that is it, right? It is like, how can we get that message out? And then I'm very grateful to the work that we are doing at WeDo for not only for ourselves, but for everyone that is going to come to the summits. And I agree with you, it's an opportunity to enhance what we are already doing.
Yes, yes. So, to the audience out there listening, I'm just doing a little blip right now about the 6 summits that we're having. But Montreal will be, but I don't know, Monica, if you know the order. I believe you are the last one, right? We're finishing in Vancouver.
I am the 18th.
Yeah, the 18th, the day before the big date, which is November 19th, International Women Entrepreneurship Day. So yeah, this year we have 6 summits in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver Island, Calgary, Saskatoon, and Vancouver. So it's really exciting. So yeah, and I love the theme. I love the theme. Invest in her. Yes. Who else are you going to invest in? No, invest in her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is important. Like we are half of the population of the globe, right? So it just makes business sense.
Yes.
Amazing. All right, Zuni, I told you at the beginning this is gonna go super fast. We are at the end of our time together. What is the one message that you want the audience to remember?
You know, back in 2005, I took this course, public speaking course, because I was at a space in my life when it was very scary and I was lost. But I took this course at McGill and I found my voice because I took this course. And so when I aced that course and I finished, I made a pact to myself and to the universe that I am so lucky I found my voice and I'm going to use my voice to help other women, other people help find their voice. And so my message is it's not that hard. We have a voice and our voice carries our courage, our values, our strength, all the good stuff about us. So use your voice, because I'm saying this because a lot of people, they might think that, oh, my voice is not worthy. No, you are a person, you have a voice. Use that. Share your story. Go do good. Go change whatever you want to change out there as women, men, entrepreneurs, mothers, fathers, but find your voice and use it. It's really worth it. And you're worth it.
Oh, this is a really nice message. And for any young person that is listening to this, really pay attention to these words, because here are two wise women. I won't say old, wise women that have walked many paths of life, that have been in many continents, that have restarted their lives many times. And yet we are here grateful and loving every single day that we get to walk this earth. So yeah, very powerful. Zoonie, the last question. Why should people listen to the Material Business Podcast?
If you want to be empowered and if you want to find that dose of not just inspiration, but courage and hear incredible stories from very brave and bold guests that Monica carefully and generously chose for us, you have got to listen to this podcast. Because I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, my my heart is full. My heart wants to dance right now, but I want to dance right now because
Oh, yeah.
I know. I feel so happy just to be able to and I heard the previous episode too. And yes, do listen to this podcast and yeah, send a message to Monica. Monica, you're amazing. Thank you for doing this. Really, much
You're
gratitude.
equally amazing. I admire you with all my heart. I hope we can have this hug together November in Vancouver. And yeah, anyone that is listening to this, there are 6 opportunities across the country. There you can enjoy to get to see empowered women and then get resources to invest in her in any of the WeDo summits that we are hosting this year. So thank you very much, Zoonie, for being here, for your time, which is precious. I really am looking forward to continue our relationship. For anyone out there, we're going to put all the links down below so people can reach out. And yeah, we'll hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Materials Business Podcast. Feel free to visit infinitygrowth.ca to see show notes and explore other episodes. If there's someone you think should hear this episode, please share with them. Take care of yourself and have a great rest of your day.